How long do you think it will be before genomic testing is part of an annual physical examination? I mean, you go and you get your blood, these primitive tests, these sort of quasi-informational tests, you put them together and you're still, I mean, do you anticipate that there will be a time where you go in, I mean, you only need to do it once in your life, right?
I'll give you a internet-related answer. 30 years ago, somebody asked people who invented computers, how many computers do you need? Oh, well, maybe 5. Huh? So we don't know, but probably it will accelerate medicine for sure. And it will, we cannot give you the date, but it will be for sure coming.
Well, and I think what will happen and what we're seeing is because when you sign up for 23andMe, you get information, for example, of whether or not you're a carrier for cystic fibrosis. So instead of you going to your doctor and him or her prescribing you a diagnostic for CF, they'll just say, well, let's just get this whole panel. It's about the same cost. And so all of that information will then become part of your profile. And then in the future, if they want to do another diagnostic, rather than having to get another sample from you and do another test, they can go in and look at your data and say, okay, now we've discovered this about you. And so it's a one-time data gathering exercise, but then the diagnosis part of it becomes a data mining exercise where you go in and pull out that information. And the more we learn about all of these data points that we've generated for a person, the more diagnostics we'll be able to generate from that. So, our vision is that, I don't know if I can give you a timeline, but probably within 10 years, I believe all babies who are born are just going to be sequenced from day one. And that information will be part of their molecular profile. And, wherever you can do a genetic diagnostic, that will be done. And that, those data will probably reside in their medical record. So it's just a matter of getting the tools to a cost point where that's feasible.
You recognize that 40% of the disease burden, at least in the United States, is behavioral. The 30% is genetic. So you have the ability now to strategically intervene 70% of the disease burden if you combine, these kinds of tools. How do you see? I mean, this is an amazing tool for public policy and for resource allocation for public health. I mean, if you can sequence a population, maybe not in the United States where you can't force anyone to have a genetic test, but in certain parts of the world where it's perhaps the government would
mandate,
would require testing. It would be a very elegant and efficient tool. How do you see that playing out in terms of?
I think you have to start in this work, and we are the person that we are starting. We believe, I'm sure that then maybe our generation, or of course the next generation, will be the point, because don't forget one point to conclude: the future generation were just an internet. We are another generation, and if I'm sick, maybe before I call my MD, the new generation before go to internet, they look, and maybe after they go to the doctor say, I have this, what you can do for me? This is a big difference. The information now, it's free, and more this new generation will enter, and the new PhD, the new MD community, they are completely different as the today community. It will be a big speed for this process.
And I think it'll be a lot easier, for those countries that are in a position to mandate something like this, that the benefit is each person gets their information. It's not that they're taking it away from them. It's more like they're giving it to them. And that's a huge difference. And people, I think, will be much more open. And they won't feel like it's been pushed down on them, as opposed it'll be, they'll see it as an opportunity to learn more about themselves. And if that can benefit their country as well, it'll feel more like a partnership, I think, as opposed to, a heavy regulatory hand coming down on them.
So you're a good citizen, and the government actually is helping you be
exactly, and you're able to contribute information to your country, to help your whole population and the people who live around you. And if you've got similarities with other people in other countries as well, I think it'll even help blur some of the boundaries and some of the borders between people who might not agree with each other for other philosophical reasons, but now suddenly they're connecting at a completely different level. And I hate to say that we could get rid of political strife in this world, but I think we think pretty big up here. So we're excited about how that might change mindsets and worldviews people have of who they, and seeing how related they are to people that they might disagree with for religious reasons or other reasons. That this is a fundamental way to connect with other individuals.
Time to talk to Bill Gates. Huh?
Yeah.
And it's actually from, again, coming from the molecular point, it's your molecular mirror, and people may be very proud of it. Okay? I mean, sometimes if you're ugly, you don't want to look into the mirror, okay, but you're not obliged. No, but, it's really a molecular ID, something very, very fancy actually for the new generation probably, because they grow up with it. I mean, they learn in school, so, and they ask you, why don't we do it? I mean, you also have to come from this angle. We have the technology, but you can't do it. I can't do it currently. No, now we can.
Very powerful.
Great.
Thank you very much.